You pull into the neighborhood after dark, and every driveway looks like proof somebody made it. New trucks, fresh paint. Tyler's porch light catches the new sectional through the window before he's even said a word to you about how he paid for it. Here's what nobody on that street will tell you. Most of what you're looking at is rented from a bank, one payment at a time. The gap between what people show you and what they can actually carry is what I call the payment mirage, and it's bigger than you think. Stick around, because the numbers I'm about to run aren't really about Tyler. They're about the account still sitting open under your own name after everyone else logs off for the night. If that lands, hit subscribe. It costs nothing. I'm Marcus, and I don't do forecasts or hot takes. I do the accounting. Tonight, the accounting says household debt in this country just climbed past $18 trillion. Credit card balances alone are past $1.25 trillion, and the average rate on that balance sits north of 20%. That's not a headline. That's rent, paid by people who think they own the thing they're renting. So here's my promise, stated plainly. I'm going to show you what an ordinary life actually costs right now, what an ordinary income actually covers, and exactly how the space between those two numbers gets papered over. Then I'm going to show you two people, same age, same income, same street, who end up in completely different places 30 years later, and the difference between them will not be talent, and it will not be luck. That's the setup. Two ordinary numbers, an income and a cost, and a gap in between that has to get filled by something. If you want to see exactly how it gets filled and who's really paying for it, subscribe now, because we're about to open the actual ledger. Start with what a normal life costs, the boring version, not the impressive one. The average new car payment is running close to $740 a month, and most households carry two of them, so call it somewhere between $1,000 and $1,400 a month just to move around. Add a mortgage. Median payments on a new home loan are well past $2,000 a month, and once you fold in taxes and insurance, you're rarely under $2,500. Add groceries, healthcare, and childcare where it applies, and a plain, unflashy, middle-of-the-road life now runs somewhere between $80,000 and $110,000 a year, after tax, just to stand still. Now flip to the other side of the ledger, the side nobody posts. Median household income in this country sits around $84,000. Take away taxes and a health premium, and that household is bringing home somewhere near $5,000 a month to run an entire life. Lay a lifestyle that costs $80,000 to $100,000 a year on top of a take-home closer to $60,000, and the math breaks before anyone buys a single thing they wanted instead of needed. The debt confirms it. The average household carries around $7,000 in card balances. Auto loan debt nationally has climbed past $1.6 trillion, and close to 37% of adults could not cover a $400 emergency in cash if it landed on them tomorrow morning. Sit with that last number for a second, because it's the whole video in one sentence. If almost 4 in 10 people can't absorb a $400 surprise in cash, the shiny life sitting in every driveway on your street isn't proof of income, it's proof of leverage, and leverage is never free. Drop a like right here, if that reframes anything for you. It genuinely helps this reach the next person who needs it. So how does an income that can't survive a flat tire fund a life that costs 6 figures a year to run? The payment mirage. The entire consumer economy has been rebuilt around one reframe, and it's the most expensive idea most people will ever accept without noticing they accepted it. Nobody asks anymore, "Can I afford this?" They ask, "Can I fit the monthly?" And you can almost always fit one more monthly, right up until every monthly you're carrying adds up to a paycheck that was already spoken for before it landed. The car becomes $700 a month instead of $44,000. The couch becomes $50 a month instead of whatever it actually costs. The vacation becomes 4 easy installments that quietly roll into a balance charging north of 20% the moment you miss one. That's the trick behind the mirage. A payment hides the price, and a hidden price is a price you end up paying for far longer than you ever meant to. And the mirage doesn't just cost money, it costs freedom. Stack enough fixed monthlies on top of a paycheck, and you've built what I already call the compliance overhead, the part of your income that isn't really yours because a lender claimed it before you did. Nobody carrying that overhead can walk away from a bad boss or wait for the better job 3 years out. because the payments are due either way. The employer benefits from an employee who needs the paycheck more than the paycheck needs them, and the mirage is what manufactures that need. Run one example, and you'll never look at a payment plan the same way again. Carry a $7,000 balance at 21%, pay only the minimum, and you'll be paying it off for well over a decade, handing the bank thousands more than whatever you actually bought. You'll pay for that dinner, that flight, that impulse buy 3 or 4 times over, long after you've forgotten what it even was. And the newer version of the mirage is sneakier than the old one. Split it into 4 small payments, and it feels free, because the first one is tiny, and the word interest never even comes up. Except people don't take just one. They stack 5 or 6 of them across different apps, lose track of what's actually due, and the fees start compounding on debt that never once looked like debt in the first place. Underneath that sits something smaller and quieter, what I call the leak tally, the sum of every recurring charge nobody has looked at in months. The average household underestimates its own subscriptions by more than $100 a month. Streaming, storage, an app trial that quietly started charging, a membership nobody remembers joining in the first place. On its own, $130 a month looks harmless. Over a year, it's well past $1,500, leaving an account on autopilot for things nobody uses anymore. Then, add convenience. A delivery fee, a service fee, a tip, a markup, and a $15 lunch turns into close to $30 by the time it reaches your door. Do that a few times a week for a year, and you've paid several $1,000s to skip a 10-minute walk. None of it feels reckless in the moment. Each charge is small on its own. That's exactly why the leak tally works on people, and exactly why almost nobody ever sits down and adds it up. Here's the number that should actually sting. Take $800 a year, one modest leak, and instead of leaking it, invest it at 7% for 30 years. It becomes more than $75,000. One small, unexamined habit, quietly worth a small fortune you will never see, because you never plugged the leak in the first place. If a video like this is worth more to you than another subscription you forgot about, subscribe to this one instead. At least this one's free. So who is actually paying for the good life without faking it? Not who you'd guess. The people who genuinely afford their own lives look, from the outside, a little boring. Older car, smaller house than the bank approved them for. You couldn't name a single brand on their body, and they sleep fine, because nothing they own is one missed paycheck away from being repossessed. Here's the part that breaks the story people tell themselves. It has almost nothing to do with income. There are households earning $200,000 a year, living paycheck to paycheck, because the lifestyle scaled faster than the income did. And there are households on $80,000 who own their cars outright, fund their future every single month, and could absorb a $4,000 surprise without blinking. Same country. Opposite math, running underneath the exact same paycheck stub. I used to think this was about discipline. It isn't. What separates these two households happened quietly, months or years earlier. The first time one of them decided a payment fitting the budget was the same thing as affording it, and the other one decided it wasn't. Everything downstream of that one decision just compounds, in one direction or the other, whether anyone's watching or not. So before I show you the two people, ask yourself the same thing. If every finance thing you own vanished tomorrow, and you had to buy it back today, in cash, would you? Most people already know their answer, and most have never said it out loud. Let me put faces on it, because the numbers alone never land the way the story does. Two people, call them Owen and Priya. Same age, 34. Same job title. Same income, $80,000 a year, almost to the dollar. Owen leases the truck, financed the boat last summer, and runs a gap of about $500 a month that a credit card quietly absorbs, so the checking account never actually looks red. Priya drives a 9-year-old sedan nobody compliments, lives on $70,000 of that $80,000, and sends $10,000 a year into an index fund on autopilot before she ever sees it sitting in her checking account. Give it 30 years at 7%. Owen has 3 decades of paid interest and a gap that never actually closed. It just moved to a different card every couple of years. Priya is sitting on somewhere close to $1 million, on the exact same paycheck Owen had the entire time. Read that back. Same income for 30 years straight, same street, same job title, and one of them retires close to $1 million ahead, while the other is still making a payment on a truck he's traded in 4 times over. The only thing that ever moved was the gap, and what each of them chose to do with it. That's the whole video, really, in 2 people. Owen looked like he was winning every single day for 30 straight years. Priya looked like she had less, every single day for those same 30 years. Then the driveways finally got compared for real, and it turned out the boring one was never behind at all. It was just quiet about being ahead the entire time. If you want to know which driveway you're actually standing in right now, Owen's or Priya's, that's exactly what the rest of this channel is built to help you find out. Like this video and subscribe so the next one finds you before the next payment does. So if the math is this obvious, why does almost everyone still play Owen's side of it? Because faking it doesn't feel like a choice, it feels like the cost of staying in the group. Humans are wired to compare rank, not net worth, and the part of the brain running that comparison has no idea what a balance sheet even is. It just knows the neighbor's truck is newer than yours, and something old and loud tells you that you're falling behind, right now, tonight. It used to be your actual street you were measuring yourself against. Now it's the entire internet, edited down to everyone else's best 10 seconds. In recent surveys, close to half of younger adults say social media makes them feel behind on money, and think about what that actually means. You're comparing your full, ordinary bills and all life to a highlight reel from 1,000 strangers, most of whom are underwater too. That's not a fair fight, and yet people spend real money every single month trying to win it anyway. An economist named Thorstein Veblen named this over a century ago, long before there was any internet to blame. He called it conspicuous consumption, spending to be seen owning a thing rather than to use it. The technology changed. The instinct never did. Here's what the quiet position actually buys you, beyond the number sitting in the account. It buys you relationships that aren't built on a performance you have to keep funding month after month. It buys you leverage, because the person who doesn't need next month's paycheck can say no to a bad deal, a bad job, or a bad boss without flinching. It buys you what I call the option count, the number of real decisions available to you at any given moment, and every dollar that isn't chasing a monthly payment adds to that count instead of quietly subtracting from it. The people running the payment mirage never get the option count. They get the applause, briefly, from an audience that is just as underwater as they are. All of them performing solvency for each other on the same street, in the same parking lot, at the same office, and nobody willing to be the first one to admit out loud that they can't actually afford the costume they're wearing. So here's the actual protocol, and it only takes 4 moves. Step 1. Change the question you ask yourself before buying anything big. Not, can I make the payment? Ask, can I buy this outright without it hurting? If the honest answer is no, you can't afford it yet, full stop. And that single swap kills more bad purchases than any budget ever will. Step 2. Protect the gap before lifestyle gets a vote. Decide what goes towards savings and investing on the day you're paid, automatically, before a single other bill touches that money. Call it the reversal order. Most people spend first and save whatever happens to be left over, which is usually nothing at all. The people actually winning this pay their future first and spend whatever's left after that, on the exact same paycheck everyone else is working with. Step 3. Buy the boring version of the 2 big things on purpose. The reliable used car instead of the freshly financed new one. The house size to what you can comfortably carry, not what the bank approved you for. Those 2 decisions alone can redirect more than $1,000 a month away from a lender and into your own accounts, quietly, every month. Step 4. Go quiet. Stop upgrading to be seen. Stop spending money to send a message to people who aren't paying a single one of your bills. Let them underestimate you. Underestimated is one of the most profitable things you can be in this economy. Here's what actually changes once you stop performing. It isn't your standard of living. It's the noise underneath it, the quiet hum of dread that comes from knowing the whole thing is one missed payment from wobbling. That hum is so constant that most people stop hearing it until the day it's gone for good. Picture that same street 10 years later. Tyler's driveway cycles through 2 more trucks and 1 more repossession nobody mentions at the barbecue. The person still standing there with a paid-off car and a number quietly growing behind them was never the one everyone envied at the time. He just never needed you to notice him. Next time you drive through a neighborhood at night and it looks like everyone figured it out, remember what Tyler's porch light doesn't show you: the balance behind the sectional, the minimum payment underneath the fresh paint job. Most of what you're looking at is being rented, by the month, from a bank doing far better off that deal than the person living inside it. You don't have to play, buy the boring car, protect the gap, pay your future first, and let the people who still need an audience keep paying for theirs. Boring is underrated. It's the only version of rich that never gets repossessed.